So there was a senior student at the time. So they were like a software engineer in the industry, and so we were sitting like on campus one weekend, and then they asked me. They looked at me and they're like, "Hey man, Aluvilo." Because they always liked addressing me by my last name. They're like, "Aluvilo, do you have a job?" And I was like, no, I don't. And then like, did you already do your internship? And then I said, no, I didn't do my internship yet. And so then right there and then they asked me to, basically they gave me their email, and then they told me about the company they work for, and they shared so then they asked me to send my CV. So I shared my CV with them, and then the following week I got a call from them for an interview for an internship, and I had to Google and find out where this company was. So I found the address, and then I worked from NAST to Southern Industria. So the company is somewhere there in Southern Industria, and I showed up, and then I sat in a boardroom. The MD walked by, came in, he greeted me, and I didn't know that they were the MD. And then a senior software developer came in, and then they said, no, they are ready for me. And then they took me to a room. I sat down, I wrote like an assessment test, and then I left. So I left. Following day, I got a call that, hey man, you did well in your assessment test, and would like to have you at our company as an intern. Are you interested? And then I was like, yo, say less, I'm there.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. So this is the first of our online versions of Tech Pathways, and we'll again be bringing on a guest speaker who will be sharing his career journey as a software developer. I'm your host, Emerita, and I'm the co-founder of Billet, and I'll be moderating this event. So today, you can expect to hear insights about what software engineering entails, the key skills and qualifications that you need to pursue this career path, as well as navigating entry-level positions and so much more. Today we are joined by Natwilwe Aluvilo, an experienced analytical software developer with a passion for fostering the next generation of tech talent. Currently, he leverages his expertise as a senior software developer at Adair, staying at the forefront of the industry. Beyond his current role, Natwilwe has a proven track record in software design, development, and mentorship, having co-founded Logic++ in Intercity Namibia and co-leading the Namibia Developer Network. His expertise spans across various areas, including software development, mentorship, lifelong learning, and innovation and collaboration. His focused academic background from a national diploma in information technology, bachelor's in information technology and software engineering, to a bachelor of computer science honors, software development fuels his desire to inspire and empower individuals, just particularly recent graduates, career changers, and those from underrepresented groups, to pursue careers in tech. So welcome, Natwilwe. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Emerita. Afternoon, everyone.
So we can get right into it. Software development has various fields, right? And this gives individuals various routes that they can pursue and go down. So could you give us a brief explanation of what software development entails, including the different roles, responsibilities, and career paths?
Yeah, cool. So thank you for the opportunity. So maybe I'll just start off by defining what software is. I'm sure obviously our audience knows, but just in case. So because software is something that's intangible, so it's considered like a set of electronic instructions. We can think of it as a recipe to something. So instructions that we normally want to give an electronic device like a computer to basically process it and then give us an output. and then take that. So now the whole process of software development is now coming up with these applications or designing software, gathering requirements, designing software, testing the software, and then deploying the software to production, and then basically get it into the hands of people who end up using this software. So you find different roles in software development. So I wasn't actually aware of a lot of roles at the time when I entered the field, because like when I finished my high school, I didn't really know what I was going to study. Um, and then I ended up, stumbling across IT. A friend of mine was like, "Hey man, Naturally, there's like something called IT here. Maybe you want to check it out." So then, I went there, I registered, and then I enrolled in the national diploma. I completed that, and then after completing the national diploma, I had three choices or specializations to pick from. So one was software engineering, the other one was business computing, and then the other one was systems administration and networking. So I chose software because one, I didn't really like business, and I didn't have a background in it. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to pick that because then I'll struggle. And then systems and networks was also not, giving up the energy that I wanted. So I wanted something that was challenging, or something that would allow me to solve complex problems or have an understanding of how complex systems work. And so then I went for software. Went into software, and then I got into the industry in 2013, where I then started as an intern at a local software services company, where I started as a junior as a programmer intern. And only after getting into the industry, I then started, getting exposed to different roles within the software career. And I'll basically just mention some of those roles. You basically get, a role of a front-end developer. That's mostly a person who deals with web technologies that are the development of web technologies that are basically interacting with the users, the visuals that you see whenever you're visiting a website or web application or a mobile application. Basically, that is what a web a front-end developer does. And then you have a backend developer, you have a DevOps engineer, a full stack engineer, a mobile app developer, you have a tester or a quality assurance person, and then you have a UX UI design person. Yeah.
All right, then yeah, that gives people a lot of options of career paths to pursue. So
Yeah,
you've been in this field for close to 10 years, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So, from your experience, what are the essential skills and qualifications needed to succeed as a software developer, including technical skills and soft skills?
So the skills required. So some skills so maybe just to put it out there. So because one of the challenges I even faced myself when I got into industry was, feeling like I don't know enough, and you will get that feeling, and it's a normal feeling. So let's just, get that out of the way. So it's a normal feeling because, what you're taught in school normally doesn't always, speak to what industry expects from you. So, however, school helps you, build a foundation or learn the fundamentals, but that is what you should come out of university with. And then with those fundamentals, regardless of where you are placed within an organization in a technology team, you should be able to basically, pick up a a role and then learn a skill to basically then fulfill your responsibilities as an individual within that role. Now, some of the technical skills that are required. Some of them, again, they build up as you are in university, and then they are basically now solidified when you get to industry. Technical skills such as learning programming languages. Different programming languages. You can pick up like one or two programming languages like Python, JavaScript, C Sharp, or Java, and obviously there are newer programming languages or backend technologies that are used, such as Go. Golang is one. Rust is another one, depending on the system that you're developing and the platform that you're building it for. So web development is also a good technical skill to have because there are quite a lot of opportunities in the web development space. Dealing with database systems or data itself, being able to design a database and basically store and retrieve and manipulate data. So which also basically helps you build your skills in the data engineering space. Handling, because the expectation when you get to industry is that you won't be working by yourself, but you will be an individual that will be placed within a team, and you will need to collaborate and work as a team. And normally a requirement would also be being able to collaborate or share code or work on a project with others. And normally the requirement for that is to be able to use version control tools, such as GitHub, to share code and collaborate on projects. And then another one is algorithms and data structures to basically just help you when you are designing your solution, to basically make sure that the system that you are building, yes, it speaks to the client requirements or the requirements or the problem statement that you are trying to solve. But then at the end of the day, also the manner in which you design it, and you take into consideration the resources, not only resources in the sense of like the the servers that you'll be hosting this application or this softwares in, or maybe the mobile devices that you'll be running the application on. But then also just how you design your software that you're actually optimizing or building an optimized solution. And instead of performing a task or processing an instruction in 5 minutes, and you do it in 1 minute because there's a method of doing that. So being able to learn as you go that okay, there's a better way of doing something and then still achieving the expected results. So that's mostly on the technical part. And then there's a very important part for me, which personally it has helped me a lot in my career, which is the problem solving ability. And the problem solving ability looks at how you think and reason about solutions and challenges that are presented to you. So you're presented with a challenge or a problem by a client, because now um, I'm mostly speaking from like an industry perspective, that you come into an organization, and you are placed within a team, and you have a team meeting, and there's a team member that's presenting the project that you will be working on. So now, part of this presentation, you'll hear something called like project description or definition, scope, all of these things. Basically, what you will be expected to deliver at the end of the day or when the project ends. And when this presentation is happening, so problem solving skills are basically skills that are required to kick in, where you'll be analytical about what you're hearing. You start thinking already, and then you also this helps you when you are formulating your solution to think about the logic that will be required to come up with a solution, and also make it work to speak to the requirements that were shared with you. So problem solving skills also span across like being able to do what we call debugging. So debugging is basically like a diagnostic skill that you perform as a software developer. Um, when you are trying to run a program or when you have an existing program that's running and there's an error or there's what you call a bug and you need to identify and trace it and basically fix it. So being able to do that, quickly, so it's also a very good skill. And then, so maybe to touch on the soft skills, soft skills that for me I've seen in like all the different organizations that I've worked in so far. So those are three organizations, basically effective communication, being able to work in a team, time management. So time management, you normally have a time allocated to tasks within a project from a project manager, and then you are assigned to these tasks, and or you assign these tasks, then you basically need to manage yourself in order for you to deliver um, in order for you to deliver or complete this task within a given period. So now, if you do identify that you are not able to deliver within, or you are running out of time, or you have a challenge or a blocker, you should then be able to approach your project manager or your team lead and say, "Hi, I'm facing this challenge, and I think it's going to affect me." Impact the delivery that's expected. Being able to adapt to different environments is also a very good skill. So being open to change, and also keeping up or learning new skills, new technologies. That's a very important one because technology is changing all the time, every day, and having an open mind and a mind open to learning, receiving, and also sharing is a very important one, and it just opens up a lot of doors for you within an organization or within an industry. Paying attention to detail, being able to pick up um, details or information that others might have missed or not have thought about is also it's a very valuable skill to have as a team member or as an individual. And then, yeah, on qualifications. So I've come across two. So there's the formal education, going to university, getting a diploma, or getting a degree. So, but then there's also the route of certifications. Yeah. So certifications basically are very 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 technical and specialized because they focus on a very specific skill that you want to hone and master, and they are both the formal education and certifications are equally, in my experience, what I've observed. If you have both, great. If you have one or the other, it can still work for you. But I've seen that certifications help a lot. Yeah, they help a lot. So if you have the education from university, it's always advisable to basically try and get a certification on top of that as well, because then you will be trying to specialize within a certain role or space in the software development or engineering sphere. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you're given a wealth of information to work with there, especially in terms of the soft skills. So let's go back a bit in time to when you completed your undergrad studies. How did you break into software development through entry level opportunities? Did you take on an internship, get a junior developer position, or just take on projects to dip your toes in the water?
Yeah. Um, cool. Thanks. That's a very good question. So maybe just to describe how I got into the industry. So when I was in my final year for my bachelor's, I I had two subjects, yeah, on part time. So the one subject, I can't recall what it was or what it is, but the other one is like a mandatory one, which is basically like your internship or the attachment that you are required to do before you can graduate. So when we had our part-time classes, on weekends we'd meet on campus with others, do assignments together, share and all that. But so there was a gentleman, so there was a senior student at the time, so they were like a software engineer in the industry, and so we were sitting like on campus one weekend, and then they asked me, they looked at me and they're like, "Hey man, Aluvilo, um, because they always liked addressing me by my last name. They're like, Aluvilo, do you have a job? And I was like, no, I don't. And then like, did you already do your internship? And then I said, no, I didn't do my internship yet. And so then right there and then they asked me to basically they gave me their email and then they told me about the company they work for and they shared so then they asked me to send my CV. So I shared my CV with them, and then the following week I got a call from them for an interview for an internship, and I had to Google and find out where this company was. So I found the address, and then I walked from NAST to Southern Industria. So the company is somewhere there in Southern Industria, and I showed up, and then I sat in a boardroom. The MD walked by, came in, he greeted me, and I didn't know that they were the MD. And then a senior software developer came in, and then they said, no, they are ready for me. And then they took me to a room. I sat down, I wrote like an assessment test, and then I left. So I left. Following day, I got a call that, hey, man, you did well in your assessment test and would like to have you at our company as an intern. Are you interested? And then I was like, yo, say less. I'm there. So then I started. So that was in June 2013. So I interned for like 6 months. And then after I completed my internship, the company was happy with my progress, and they took me in as an intern. So now, maybe just to step back, like the first day when I started or when I started my as an intern, you know, got an orientation, introduced to everyone and all that. And I was quite like, excited. I'm like, yo, this is nice. And then the second day, I was told that, hey man, we are going into the field. And I was like, oh, wait, what? Yeah, so I tagged along with the gentleman that actually, introduced me to the opportunity. And then we went to an actual client, introduced me, and then he told me what we were there for, showed me the ropes and all that. And then we went back to the office, debriefed. The following day, I was asked to basically go to that client by myself, and I was like, "Wow, what?" So now I'm sharing that to say, for example, like part of the technical skills and the soft skills that I just shared. So being able to retain information, being able to pay attention to detail, and um, and also learning to take a like to pause and be like, hey man, okay, the client is asking me this and I don't have a senior to consult. Maybe I should, it's best if I tell them. So how do you respond in a situation like that? How do you respond in a situation like that? So you say, okay, no, I'll have to get back to you on this. I need to consult my senior. I need to do this and that, and then that's basically how you learn now how things work, the different processes, how you talk to clients, what you need to collect in terms of information or specifications from clients, because you need all of that to go back to your office and then share that with your team. And then it needs to be as accurate as possible, because you can't go back now and tell the client that, yo, what did you say again yesterday? Like, no,
Yeah.
obviously you can say, okay, no, I misunderstood. Is this what you referred to, and what? So you need to have something to work with. And so I did that, and it was really, I had an amazing experience at my first company. And so the onboarding, the guidance, the supervision was there. Um, and and there was a lot of encouragement or in regarding being able to, not being afraid to make mistakes, being able to basically go and ask questions at any time, disturb, like, a senior team member, that has been doing what you're trying to do for a very long time, because, it saves you time, and then also they can help you understand of how you can approach something, and unlock what you're trying to unlock. So so the
Yeah.
yeah so the so that space was quite smooth for me. I didn't really find it difficult to navigate. I think the other thing that also helped me was, so we were like three of us, like, that were doing our final year internship. We knew each other, and so that also helped. Even though from time to time we worked or we were sent or put on different projects, we could still basically mingle and share our different experiences. And, like, if I'm basically missing something here, or, there's a gap that's identified by my peers, they will be able to say, yeah, no, but, naturally, this is how you can address this, or this is how you can, do this, and such. So I interned 6 months, and then after that, I became a permanent staff. So I went from, programmer as an entry level position, and to a software engineer position. So maybe just on positions as well. So different organizations have defined their roles and positions differently. Um,
Mm.
so we could be, two developers working at two different institutions, organizations, and we are doing the exact same thing. We are designing and developing software, but, a colleague of mine is, that, the other person is called, a software engineer. I'm called a software developer. They are called a programmer. And the reason why is just because, different organizations are also growing, and evolving at different paces, as to how they are restructuring, regrading, the different titles. Because, yeah, it's basically the trends, or the technology changes. Yeah, that so that coupled with, school. So I had school, I had internship, and then outside of that, I also had, what I call basically like just a national duty or responsibility. So we started like a community between 2014 to 2019, called the Google Developer Group, like a window chapter, that we
Yeah.
basically, we hosted tech events, throughout the year. And through those activities, there was basically, like, an opportunity to meet, people or developers from different backgrounds, as well as industry people, that we invited, we networked with. They also shared or exposed opportunities or saw potential, and then they shared the word with others. And so there were quite a lot of opportunities, actually. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. So earlier you mentioned that one of the challenges that you experience is feeling like you don't know enough when you entered the
Yes.
industry. So, how did you get over
Yeah.
that, and what other challenges did you experience as a young developer?
Uh, so the not knowing enough, how I overcame that. I I basically, well, I had so I had a chat with my peers that were working at other companies. So that was one approach, finding out what work they are doing there, and the complexity of the work, and how the how the expectations are being handled. So, um, and what I mean by that is, like, if I'm an intern, and I've never developed like a fully fledged system before,
Mm,
from design to development, testing, and then deploying it to production, and then having users use the final software or system.
yeah,
um, so that means that I need some form of guidance. So, and I understood that I needed that guidance, or I lacked the skill to basically do that. So I needed the guidance. So,
mm,
I stayed very close to my supervisor, and I asked, like, I I flooded them with questions. Yeah.
yeah,
So every time before I started the task, I'll basically try and understand the task that I'm required to do, and then I'll then try and formulate a solution to the task, or an approach to this task, is how I'm going to approach it, or basically tackle this task. And then if I identify that within my definition of the solution or the approach that I'm actually going to take, I'm lacking, or I'm stuck, or I don't understand how I'm going to execute a certain step, I then just go and sit with my supervisor, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They explain. If they have to draw a diagram, they do that, because sometimes, for me, I also learn quite well with visuals.
mm,
So that aspect of basically asking helped me a lot, and then also just accepting that I can't know what I don't know, and I can't know everything at once, but I can learn. So having an open mind also shaped me a lot, or helped me a lot in that regard. And
yeah.
yeah, so that was it.
Hmm. All right. So, since you've been in this space for quite some time, I'm sure you have built like a network of connections with industry professionals and whatnot. So, what piece of advice could you give to someone who's just starting out in their career and they want to build a strong network and connections?
Yeah. So for software developers, two things, or maybe even three, that are quite important, is to one is to create like a GitHub account. So GitHub is basically now this platform where you can showcase your work, or you can keep it private, but you basically store and manage your projects from there. So it's quite important, because nowadays, when you are applying for a job, or any position, a lot of the development positions actually, or positions actually require you, or employers require you to showcase some of the previous work that you have done. And if you have not worked anywhere before, that's fine. And also sometimes, if you might have worked somewhere, but then that work is private. There's an IP that's tied to that organization, so you don't have the right to maybe share that work like that, but you can talk about it. So the other thing that you can do, or work around, is basically trying to do side projects, or your own projects, projects on your own, even if it's just, finding a tutorial online and replicating it and then modifying it or changing it and understanding how that works. So that slowly builds up your knowledge and as well as the skill set. So your proficiency and your skill set. Um, and then the second one I would say is so there's a platform called Stack Overflow. So Stack Overflow is normally a place where we go to when we are stuck during our design and development. So it's like a platform where people who have experienced the problems that you are experiencing have posted or asked questions about or around this problem, and then together collectively have found a solution around it. So basically now you getting onto a platform like that will allow you, yes, one, to be able to post your questions, learn how to basically clearly structure and ask a question so that you can get to a root cause or you can get a definite answer. But then it also gives you an opportunity to contribute to the rest of the community. So it helps. It also just helps with your skill sets again and your proficiency. And then the third one that I would recommend is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn. It's very important. So I always, whenever I come across like, fellows in the industry, the first thing that I ask for when connecting, like, I don't even necessarily need to get a phone number or an email. Before I get that or ask for that, I normally just ask if you're on LinkedIn. And if you are, then, I look you up and then I send a connect. Now, LinkedIn, you can think of it as a living CV that's online, because there's even a functionality for you to convert your profile into a CV, and then you can use that to apply and whatnot. But why it's important, yes, it helps you with your network, yeah, because then you can now follow and connect with your people that are in your industry, seniors that are in, working at institutions or entities that you would one day want to actually work at or seek opportunities at. So it basically just, closes the gap of having to physically go to an office and find a person or set an appointment, which you might not even get based on the schedule of that individual. But with LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can connect with me, you can drop me a message, and then when I make time for LinkedIn, then I'll respond to your message, and then we can take it from there. So it helps with the connections. It also helps with applying for jobs, because uh, a lot of tech companies nowadays are also making use of LinkedIn for recruitment. So there's an option if your LinkedIn is up to date, and from time to time, let's say maybe every quarter, end of the quarter, you just review if there's maybe a new skill that you have learned, or a new qualification that you have gained. You can add it on there, or maybe you started a new role. You can update that, and it's very important to do this because it shows your progression, it shows your growth and your potential, and that's also part of your marketing. Because when the companies that come on LinkedIn and post jobs, you are able to now apply and submit your application via LinkedIn. It just makes it easier for them to do a review or to do an assessment of your profile, and then also determine whether you are a good fit for that role or position that you're trying to apply for or not. So LinkedIn definitely, and then now outside of the digital space, there's also now a physical world that we sometimes forget about. So attending events is definitely something that I would like encourage. I think like for me between 2014 and 2019, like any tech event or any event that speaks of technology or the future, something that's progressive, and I see either being able to pick up something from there or an opportunity for me to actually network. Because you can be like a software developer, but you can attend like a farming conference as an example. Why would you attend a farming conference? I mean, The reason why you would attend a farming conference is that you can go there, sit, and listen to some of the challenges or the challenges that farmers are facing, and then in that you'll be able to identify whether there's an opportunity there's an opportunity for you as a software developer to actually solve one or any of these challenges that because like you could find a farmer that says that, hey man, I currently have this book that I write down, I keep track, basically doing livestock management, like a livestock inventory type of thing. But it's just a lot of admin because sometimes I forget this and what. So then, if you are now in the room when a farmer is saying that as a software developer, you'll be like, oh wow, okay. Do we currently have, like, a question that will pop up in your mind can be like, do we currently have um, a what a platform where farmers can actually, a digital platform that farmers can use to basically manage their their farming inventory, whether it's now livestock or machinery and whatnot. And if the answer is yes, then you look it up, you find it, and you see what are the features that are on there, how relevant is it, are people using it. And if the answer is no, then you will be like, okay, maybe there's an opportunity here for me to design and propose a solution. Then you can network connect with one of the farmers or all the farmers, build an application to allow them, can even be a mobile application that they can go around within the field, take pictures and whatnot. Then you can do your data analysis, you can do reporting. And so basically what you'll be doing there is you identify a challenge, you come up with a solution. This solution adds value to the farmers life operations, and then they will see the value, and then they will be able to, for example, let's say, pay you for your service or your product. So something like that. So networking in the physical world is also quite important. So I would encourage, being able to go up to people, even if you are nervous, do it while shaking or stuttering, whatever. I mean, just do it, and
Yeah.
it helps. Yeah, because sometimes so sorry. So this is one thing I learned from a lecturer from university who taught us, database programming, and so they said that assumptions can be very dangerous, and no one knows what's going on in your head, the thoughts, the ideas and whatnot. And if you come to an event or a venue, and you don't say a word and leave, you will still just remain with those ideas and thoughts. But if you share those, there could be someone else in the room, or if you connect with someone, there might be someone working on something similar. Then a collaboration could be formed, or someone can point you in the right direction that, oh no, there's actually there's funding for what you're trying to do. Because I hear that you're saying maybe finance is a struggle, you're trying to get this software or this license and whatnot, but there's a grant for this, or there's what, go to that person, or I can connect with. So just try and say something or talk to people, approach them, even those that don't look approachable, and you never know. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So another way to say that is like closed mouths don't get fed. I like using that line because if you're not going out there and actually like talking about yourself and what you do and what you can bring to the table, then yeah, you essentially don't get fed. But yeah.
No, 100%, 100%.
All right. So finally, if you could
Yeah.
travel back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about choosing a career in tech?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, so so one of the reasons why I ended up in tech, because I could have ended up almost anywhere and everywhere, was just that it was the first thing. Number one, I didn't know about it like that. Like I was not about computer life like that or anything. So a lot of things were just a first for me. Um, but I was quite curious. I was very curious. So to my younger self, a career in tech, I
Yeah.
would have I would have actually still, told my younger self, like, go for this thing that you don't know. Be curious, be open minded. Because I think the thing that kept me going or keeps me going is that I like solving problems or thinking about solutions to challenges. And a career in tech, like specifically in software, what it has done, it basically helped me, um,
Mm.
it helped me arrange my thinking and my mind
Yeah.
to be able to 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 go into any industry, any domain, and still contribute or add value. So even if I have to go into farming today, um, I'll still be able to apply a lot that I've learned from tech. And I'll say, remain curious, and just solve problems that are meaningful. Yeah. So when
Yeah.
a problem is meaningful, and like maybe just to talk about what I focused on, um, when I got into tech. It's basically indigenous languages and indigenous knowledge
Mm.
where I because of where I was coming from, like my village or the people I've interacted with in life, and then just looking at now systems that are in the world, and how they've excluded or they're excluding certain groups of people, like maybe the languages are not captured, so now you are forced to do something in another language, or you are excluded because you can't read, but there's no option for you to listen to something or to speak in your own language and still get a service or still perform an action. So tech for me, I'll definitely. I think it was one of the best decisions that I've made. But I've also made them. So there's a friend of mine, and we are still very good friends. Since 2005
Mm.
from high school till today. So he was the one who, like, hey, said, oh, there's something called IT here. Let's go. So we went, we started our national diploma, and then he ended up leaving and went to do something else. So every day or every time we meet today, I always say, like, yo, thank you, man. Thank you
Mm.
for that. Because the opportunities are endless. And when I was in my final year, one of the things that I told myself was, um, I don't want to one day I want to. So there was a course called user interface design. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a word called a phrase called in the wild. So just being outside of a building, physical building or a house or what, being in the field, working and being in nature and stuff like that. So I took that, I took the software track and stuff, and then I told myself that one day I want to be able to work in the wild, and what that meant for me was that I want to be able to wake up one day, wear comfortable clothing. For me, that's jeans and just a t-shirt, and work from anywhere as long as I have my laptop, and I have internet. And I was fortunate enough to experience those things, like especially with remote work at
Mm.
some point between like 2019 November and 2022 August. And then even in my current role, I do have some form of flexibility, and
Mm.
but the end goal is still that there are quite a lot of opportunities, and the more you position yourself, and you position yourself obviously by learning, by upskilling, by networking. So this is what grows you. So the more you grow, so how you craft your life really just literally it becomes a thing that just sits in your hands. So yeah.
Oh, wow, I like that. Like you have the power to like choose the direction of your life and not just let it happen to you. Yeah, that's
100%.
perfect. All right. So we've reached the end of our little session. So now we'll get into questions. Okay.
Oh yeah, the questions. Yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah, this is the fun part.
Yeah.
All right. First one. What are the best parts about working at a startup as a developer?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Oh, that's a good question. So, I think that the best parts for me, the diversity, you know, you are and also, if you are realistic, you immediately get reminded that they are quite 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 talented people outside of yourself, and and that the fact that you are in the same room with them, it's actually like quite a it's quite a blessing because you have access to you have to the same way the startup has access to that talent, you as a talent also have access to other talent. And so when you lack, you can basically just pick from others. And I mean, if you have a growth mindset and open learning and sharing, collaborating, you can't go wrong. So it gets exciting because you come in, you have done ABCD in your career up to where you are now, or in your life, and as a developer or in tech, and then you get to hear other people's journeys, other people's stories, and you are like, okay, cool. You get inspired. So like myself, currently where I am, I work with really brilliant people, and I'm just grateful. So yeah.
Hmm. All right. And another one. Okay, so that question came from Stanley. And Stanley has another question. What do you think of the market for software developers in Namibia for the future? Okay.
Okay, cool. Keep them coming, Stan. Okay, so the market for software developers in Namibia for the future. So I believe that the market is there. I believe that the market is there, and like there are two parts to it. So there is the part where traditionally we've had institutions, that are prominent, that or whatever, like let's say banking institutions, parastatals, that have like an IT department, yeah. So just an IT department or a small IT team, or somewhere in government or private companies, and they've been operating like that for years. But then what has changed, or what has happened over the past, let's say, 4 years, 3 4 years, is that especially COVID, like COVID was unfortunate, but like in tech it was a blessing. So in tech it was a blessing for us, in the sense that now the value that we bring to an organization or to a team got realized. But now that value got realized like exponentially, because now instead of having like a team of or saying that no, we only need one software developer that's now developing software for, let's say, 500 people. You now realize that, okay, no, but this person is doing a lot of work. Like, and another thing maybe that I forgot to mention earlier on was that as you when you get into a team, or an organization, you you come with your skills, yes, and then you get assigned to a role, and the role helps basically for you to try and deliver, to the best of your ability. Because instead of now being a software developer who's, chasing a client here, sitting, taking down requirements, there's a business analyst or a system analyst to do that. You are not now. Yes, you are writing your test cases, unit test, and all that, doing your integration testing, but there's a test analyst, or a test engineer that's on your team now. So they are the ones that will make sure that your before your software goes out to the rest of the world, they give you the green light, and then instead of worrying databases and stuff like that, they are they what you now have data engineers that are on your team, and they worry about that. You just have a conversation, and then you just focus on developing the software or the application based on the designs that you get from the user interface and user experience designer and stuff like that. So now these roles are now being recognized in Namibia, I must say, because in the past they were not even part of the discussion. We just we need a programmer, but or we need a developer. But now the expectation was that the developer must perform all these roles in one, and it was just I feel like it was a lot of pressure on one individual. So in the traditional setting, they are so over the past 3 4 years, the thinking has changed. We have recognized that, okay, now guys, we need to pay attention to what's going on here. We need to listen to what software developers are saying. If you are saying that, no, I mean, this is a lot of work, or this is, can I not get someone that can do the testing, or what? And then so now institutions are starting um, to build teams, having the roles that are required, and stuff like that. So now the other part is now, in Namibia, is like where you have now startups, both local and international, technology startups, yeah, to be specific, that are
Mm.
building their own products, and so they are building their products. Obviously, they take a problem statement, they come up with a solution. um, that is one, and they assemble their own teams, and the assembling of teams in, like, let's say a local startup or international startup versus like the traditional setting or the traditional tech industry in Namibia, is that we understand the importance of having these roles. We don't need to say, we first need management to approve this or what. Yes, there are processes and all that, but we know that for this thing to work, if we want to produce this output, or we want to learn this product this way and whatnot, we need to have to assemble a team, and these are the skill sets, these are the roles we need. And then so they are, you basically have an opportunity stand to come to Namibia, or you are in Namibia, and you find local talent in Namibia to help you build your startup. And then there's
Mm.
the international part, where you now have international companies, so they set up locally, or they recruit locally, but they are sitting, their setup is international or somewhere else. So as a Namibian developer, again, how you, if you position yourself, you upskill, get your qualification, your certification, or your experience, and you pick like a specialization, or like a space that you want to focus on, sorry, within software. Update your LinkedIn profile, a job post comes up, you apply, you are in. Like, so back in the days, it was like, it was okay to a certain degree. It can be a challenge. Like, your first couple of attempts might not be successful, but it's also a learning process. You can learn a thing or two from this. To why is your application not successful? Okay, maybe the competence or the level or the skill that you're looking for, you don't have it. Now, what you do is you take that feedback, and then you go back to your your drawing board, your roadmap and your learning path, and then you do what you need to do for the next opportunity that comes up. So to that, basically, it's just like the mindset of not being discouraged, not giving up on yourself, on your dreams, or an opportunity that you really want, or you maybe don't know, but you come across, you just shoot your shot, and then so the future is definitely here. I mean, we do have, international developers also residing in Namibia and working for Namibian companies, or residing here and working for international companies. So it's quite the opportunities are there. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
just need to look in the right places, and but you also need to network. LinkedIn, and all this, and just put yourself out there. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the final one. Mm, are there any advantages to learning multiple languages in stacks, or is it better to stick to a single stack and be good at that one?
Um, so there are multiple, sorry, there are advantages. I wouldn't, I think, I don't want to call it a disadvantage to just stick into one, but like it will come down to your preference. Like, so both personally, if it's now for personal projects or professionally. So personally, if if you are working on a personal project for yourself or for a client, because most of the times clients, a lot of the clients, yeah, but there are exceptions. A lot of the clients don't really mind what technology stack you use. What they want is for you to be able to deliver a solution at the end of the day. So they if they come to you, you have your team or you are an individual, but they come to you with, like, designs, and they say, okay, no, this is our web application or a mobile app that you want you to develop for us. Um, are you able to do this for us? Now, that's the question you ask yourself with that, with that. The stack or the framework that you are using, what are the limitations, over the years, or the different projects that you have worked on, like what were some of the challenges or limitations, whether it's on a mobile platform or web platform, that you faced that you couldn't implement. And then now that degree of limitation is what determines now whether you are confident enough to take on a project and complete it successfully, meaning that you give the client what they ask for. You don't say, no, but I know you wanted a blue button, but this framework only does red buttons. But now the client says, yeah, but now this red button will chase away my customers because they will always feel like they're in danger or something like that. So,
Yeah.
understanding limitations is very important. And then um, knowing multiple stakes is also a plus. It's a plus, especially if you are working, let's say, in a startup environment, or like in a very dynamic environment where any a project with any set of requirements gets thrown your way. Like, that means that you can easily adapt, and basically um, respond to the challenge, and deliver the thing. So I would say, if because I mean, I've come across, or I know individuals that that like that stick to one thing, and that's all they do. Because then again, that if that is what you want to do, like, you want to stay in your own lane, and you only do things that come into your lane, maybe this is a better of doing it. Yeah. So imagine, like, it's like a road with, let's say, 3 4 lanes. Now there's this one lane where it's just, it's Java. Any Java project that comes in, you are able to do it, because that's the lane that you want to stick to. You just want to do Java stuff, whether it's on mobile, web, whatever, cloud, doesn't matter. But now there's another lane there. There's now Python. There's what. Then other frameworks that come with those languages. So you just basically have to now decide as a driver. Do I want to be able to switch lanes? Look at the mirrors and stuff when I see something. Or do I just want to stick to this one lane and I'm comfortable with that? Because at the end of the day, it should be a decision that you can live with because you are doing it for you. You are not being a software developer for someone else. That fulfillment is for you. Yes, you are providing a service. You are able to contribute, add value, and whatnot. But you need to be you need to do it for you. So yeah, I'm cool with someone who goes with either, whether they stick to one or they go, as long as you are able to deliver it with whatever option, whichever option you select or choose. Yeah. So and sorry, and maybe just like one more thing. The
Yeah.
thing the thing is like even if you start off like just sticking to one thing, like you do it for 5 years or 10 years, maybe there are now after a decade you decide, you know what, I now want to try other things or multiple things, and you are in technology. That is one of the beauties that you have. You are able to pick up something and basically just do something with it. So pick up something new and do something or try out something new. So I don't think there's you need to stress about that.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for that. So we'll do two more questions and then we'll end the session. So this one is from Dalglish, if I pronounce that right. Um, he wants to know how can anyone as a future developer make themselves attractive to employers while not having any work experience yet?
Um, So one way to do that, I would definitely again just reiterate and emphasize that you try and just create like a GitHub account. It's important. I know sometimes and I mean, if it makes anyone out there feel better in tech, I mean, like this thing of imposter syndrome, and you find it across different industries, different domains, and you did your thing, you are good, and you are what, but sometimes you just feel like, okay, no, what if, or am I doing this right? And so now, so yeah, GitHub repo. Definitely a must, and then LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, even if you don't have work experience, your your school journey, like from high school, that is what you can use. Like when I started off on LinkedIn, like I didn't have a qualification yet, and I didn't have um, work experience. So I added my high school certificate. I said, oh, no, I went to this high school, I did these subjects, whatever. And then I said, okay, I added the program that I'm studying at the time.
Mm.
And then um, when I started then volunteering, I was able to add, the voluntary work that I was doing. Like, if a high school invites me to go and give a talk to the students about, on their computer day or whatever, I show up, I talk to the young ones or whatever, I inspire them. But for me, I then, it's a service. Voluntary service that I did, I chose to do and whatnot. But it's also something that I can add on to my profile and say, oh, I did this, I did that, I did what. So I would encourage someone without working experience that's still waiting maybe to for a job or waiting to graduate. Try and pick up like something voluntary or um, so yeah, something voluntary that you can do, even like tutoring. If you're in your final year, you can tutor, first year students. You can go to the faculty, of computing and informatics or computer science, whichever institution you are at, and just talk to the staff there and ask them if they can give you an opportunity to tutor because you are confident and comfortable in a certain module or subject, and you would want to. So now when I see that as a potential employer, and I look at your LinkedIn profile, or I have a conversation with you, or I review your CV, and then I say, no, let's grab a coffee, and then I'm chatting to you. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I see here you did this. Tell me about this, like, and then I listen to you, and because when you do something, it forms part of your life experience, and how you apply that or how you now move from there. It helps you open other opportunities, or it can lead to other opportunities. So yeah,
Um,
yeah, and just just reach out to people. Again, don't be shy, and yeah,
okay.
cool.
And the last one. This one comes from Brandon. He would appreciate some recommendations on tools one can use for enhanced productivity and workflows.
Enhance productivity and workflow. Um, so I would so there's an app here. So there's an app. So there's an app that I use. Yeah, there's an app called so there's an app called Minimalist Phone. Yeah. So Minimalist Phone is basically like it's a mobile app that I installed on my phone, and then it converted, like, my phone, like, it turned my phone minimalistic, basically. Instead of having, like, instead of having, like, app icons, all of that. So it just basically, you just get a black screen like this, and then if you are on a free version like that, and I've been using it like for 2 months, I only get to put two apps on there. I only have my calendar and a clock, and then the rest of the apps are basically like in a list form, where you need to now search for it and whatnot. And if you are opening an app, for example, that has a potential of causing or being a distraction, or causing you to be a distraction to yourself, let's say YouTube, yeah. Maybe you want to listen to Casper's new song or something like that. uh, so if I search, because now you are being given work to search for the app that you want, that is one measure to discourage you to not even try and open the app already. And then now when you get it, so I search for YouTube here. So when you find it, then there's a dialogue that comes up when you want to open it. It will ask you, how much time do you want to spend on YouTube for now? And then it's either 1 minute, 5 minutes, and then there are options to say kick me out after this time, or do this, close the app and whatnot. So that is one app, because, like, productivity, a lot of, like, with yes, productivity is obviously the measure of what you do, um, but so sometimes, I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, but no, what is what if you also look at it the other way around? Like, what if you want to define productivity as what you do not do? And I mean, maybe what you do not do is, not you don't go to YouTube, or you don't go to WhatsApp, or you don't, or whatever. Just as an example, so that can also then give you a different thinking dimension. So yeah, so
Mm.
that's an app that I would recommend, or maybe just even just keeping your phone away from you when you are trying to work or do something. And then there's app called um, an app called Substack. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an app called Substack. So Substack is maybe I won't call it a productivity tool, but it's a tool that can help you realize how to become productive. Yeah.
Mm.
So So yeah, so I'll say that. So most of the productivity where this like the disturbances or the distractions come from are mostly from something that comes outside of the task that you are doing at hand. So if you're on your laptop, and so maybe just keep just your laptop at your workplace or your desk, whatever, then that means your phone, if your phone comes next to your laptop, that means now the phone has the potential of, being counterproductive and whatnot. So basically, the tool that I'm really recommending here is just, managing your distractions. Yeah, I really
Mm.
hope that helps. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for all those recommendations. Um, Besides that, Brandon, you could also use Notion like to manage your tasks and whatnot. And
Yeah.
time blocking also helps with productivity. And if I'm not mistaken, if you on Windows, you can use focus mode now. So you can
Mm,
like block out any notifications that may come up and whatnot so that you're focused like on your work.
yeah,
But there's
that's
plenty
true.
of
Yeah.
tools and methods that you can use. You don't have to have like a physical app as well to manage your productivity and
Mm,
workflow. Yeah. Okay. So we've come to the end of a very, very long session. So thank you for joining us again, Natulwe. It was great having you here.
it's a
And
pleasure.
yeah, thank you for everyone who tuned in. Um, this is the second event, the first event that we're having virtually for Tech Pathways, but we might be having another one and a physical event again in June. So keep an eye on our socials and we'll be posting more details about that. And if you're registered for the event, you'll also get updates immediately on that front. So yeah, thank you again for everyone, to everyone for joining, and I hope to see you guys again at the next one.